Across America, BP supports more than 275,000 jobs to keep energy flowing. Jobs like building grid-scale solar energy in Ohio and producing gas with fewer operational emissions in Texas. It's and, not or. See what doing both means for energy nationwide at bp.com/investing in America.
I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Welcome to News du Jour. You may be wondering, why am I, Annie Bowles, here hosting this podcast? I usually start by telling people I'm a political baby. You see, my parents met working on Capitol Hill. By the time I was 2, I had been in my first political commercial and even got lost crawling around the West Wing. Don't worry, Al Gore found me. My family then moved abroad when I was 9, and I attended an international school in Brussels with kids from all over the world. And it is this type of global perspective that I also bring to our show. I graduated from American University in DC after studying political science and art history, as well as interning on both sides of Capitol Hill. I even interned down the hall from where my parents met. I'm now pursuing a professional certificate in journalism at NYU in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine. I guess I was always that friend in the group who cared deeply about not just what was going on politically, but also globally. I often kept my own friends informed through high school and into young adulthood, so I guess I've always done a version of this show. I'm genuinely passionate about following the news, and I'm here to break it down for you guys every weekday. We always strive to be a calmer space to get your news. Or, as one listener put it, like getting your news from a well-informed bestie. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, so just as a reminder, this Thursday is the State of the Union. In case you're not from the US or you've never seen a State of the Union address, they are basically where the president will summarize where we are at as a country in one speech before Congress and really before the whole world. This will take place on Thursday, like I said, at 8 p.m. Central Time, and I will definitely be watching, and as always, I will have a breakdown for you guys, not on the next day's episode, but on the following day's episode, so Monday. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, so once again, I'm recording this very late. I have been, as quickly as my little fingers can move, editing the April Wilkins episode, and it has just taken a lot of TLC, some tears. Just re-listening to it over and over again is super emotional, and trying on different music, and when I hit the right music and the emotions come out, it's been draining. I really hope you guys will listen to this episode because I really poured my heart and soul into it. I think it's the longest episode we've ever put out. Maybe, or at least close to it. It has a phone call between April and her abuser, as well as an interview with April herself out at the prison. So again, this is something I really put my soul into, so I really hope you guys will listen to it. Anywho, as of the time I'm recording this, Trump has won the following states in the Super Tuesday primaries. Let's go. All right, Oklahoma, Maine, where they tried to kick him off the ballot, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, North Dakota, Idaho, Nevada, Michigan, Missouri, New Hampshire, Iowa, South Carolina, Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Massachusetts. So those are the ones that I have seen based on a couple different news sites, New York Times, NBC. And again, I will update you guys fully on the Super Tuesday voting on tomorrow's episode as always, but I just like to keep you guys posted as we go along. As predicted, Trump is coming in hot. So it's looking like it's going to be a repeat of our 2020 election cycle. Here we go again. And speaking of the White House is walking a fine line right now, you guys, when it comes to Gaza. So both Biden and Kamala have been walking this fine line when it comes to Gaza. Let's break down how exactly as of late and why. Let's start with Kamala and then we will take on the big man. So at a speech in Alabama on Sunday afternoon, Kamala stood and spoke of the quote-unquote humanitarian catastrophe going on in Gaza right now. But she also called for a, quote, immediate ceasefire, end quote. And here is how that is a little bit tricky. That is language that a lot of activists have been using when it comes to Gaza. But the ceasefire Kamala is advocating for would be a temporary one, assuming that she's in lockstep with the White House generally. They're asking for a 6-week ceasefire. So even though she says immediate ceasefire, now Kamala can go and point back to this instance and say, hey, look, I demanded an immediate ceasefire, even though what she was asking for was a temporary ceasefire. You see what I mean? They're walking a very narrow line here. You see, they are on the hook for their own voters, but they are also fighting for those moderates. If they go against Israel, then the far right can point to them and say, see, they don't really stand with Israel. And then they lose the moderates, which may mean losing the election. But if they don't support Gazans caught in this crossfire, they stand to lose the left, which they obviously count on. So where is President Biden in all of this? Let's discuss a recent Instagram post of his. The post read, quote, in addition to the United States' expansion of aid deliveries by air, land, and sea, we're continuing to push hard for more trucks and routes to get more aid to more people. There are no excuses. The aid flowing into Gaza is nowhere near enough and nowhere fast enough. End quote. But in the comments of this post, many people are pointing out the irony of both providing bombs and food to be dropped into this besieged territory. People use the age-old phrase of a band-aid over a bullet hole, only it is almost literal in this instance. You get it. Does Biden stand to lose both set of voters and then succumb to another Trump presidency where Israel will no doubt be supported? We'll wait and see. And lastly for today is a shorter episode because we have our bonus coming out. France puts abortion rights into their constitution. So by now, you've probably heard that France has added abortion access to their constitution. Abortion is now a guaranteed freedom in France, so that women have the right to choose whether they personally agree with abortion or not, and in different circumstances, they can choose what's right for them. It passed overwhelmingly with 780 votes to 72 and a standing ovation in the parliament at Versailles. Macron described the move as French pride, saying that it had a universal message, according to the BBC. Now, there were 72 dissenters, and it's safe to say that the Vatican was not too happy about this move. But abortion has been legal in France since 1975, but women wanted this to be enshrined in their constitution so as to, for sure, protect their rights. As the Prime Minister of France, Gabriel Attal, put it, quote, we are sending a message to all women. Your body belongs to you and no one can decide for you, end quote. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, the two most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day you find out why. please listen to our bonus episode on April Wilkins when you guys have time. I would really appreciate it. Have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review on that platform or a shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us to be able to keep creating the news du jour and reach more people who need a calmer space to consume the news. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfree media, and that is also linked in our show notes. You can follow us on social media at newsdujour.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my personal account at It's Annie Bowles on both platforms as well. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from
BP added more than $70 billion to the U.S. economy in 2022 by making investments from coast to coast. Investments like building charging hubs for fleets of electric buses in California and starting up new infrastructure in the Gulf of Mexico. It's and, not or. See what doing both means for energy nationwide at bp.com/investing in America.